The I gotta get my wits about me over here. You know, I just look at Marshall and I think about, I don't know. Anyway, we welcome in Sabo, who's waiting patiently, Eddie Chazan, Shimon Deer, Irving Fishbaum, Aaron Swade, Marshall Castle, Shalom Fogel. We welcome in Jay Siegel, Mo Kushner, Shimon Klein, Mel Zachter, Baruch Ian, Ruvain Pollack, Chal, Dr. Block, Moshe Lehman, Shelley Zeitlin, Elias Schutman, Yitzi Fuchs, Rabbi Kranz, Lefu Shalemer for Yaakov Avadia ben Freda Rivka, Yitzi Muller, Abe Arbach, Berish Gesseman, Zoom user, whoever that is. We welcome in here in the shul. It's really rolling the red carpet out. We have over here tonight, Mark Frankel will be joining us. And tonight, Rabbi Isai, after the shir, we did the Mishnah Yomis already, because after the shir we're going to have the segment for the Shabbos table for Parshas Tazria. So that's a special event tonight in honor of Mark. And we welcome in Rip Kramer and Gedalia Engel and Michal Avram and Ruvain Shanit. We are holding, as we're dedicated by A.B. Spry and family, for the Gesund for the whole family, and by Michal Avram, everybody should finish Shas with Gesund. Irving Fishbaum has asked us to learn Nebuch. An 11-year-old boy passed away. Chaim Avram ben Baruch Yisrael Alevi. His neshama should have an aliyah. He should be a Melitz Yosher for the whole world. He's a carbon that's going up straight to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Boy that passes away before his bar mitzvah is not passing away for his sins. So either he's being masak in the past Gilgal, or he is being mechaper al adar, and our dar needs a lot of tefillas. The Mayot says Gedolei HaTorah put out a kol kairei, how we have to daven for the situation with the draft in Eretz Yisrael. And, you know, the draft has so many different complexities, and one of them is it puts the yeshiva boys in a bad light in the eyes of the people, and that's no good. It's no good, because the people want to, they want to benefit from the merit of the learning, and if they're going to attack the learning, then it's very hard to be protected and benefit from the learning when you attack it. So it's not a good situation all around. Okay. Hamafkid mo'iseitel shulchani. If I deposit money by Marshall, and some people don't learn. So I deposit money by Marshall. So im tzrurin, if the money is tied up, and we're going to see in the Gemara that it's not just tied up, but it has a seal on it, then lo yishtamish b'hem. Then although Marshall is a money changer and he's always using money, it's understood that hands off. Therefore, im avdu, remember Marshall is a shomer chinam, he's watching it for free. So then im avdu, if it gets lost, he's a shomer chinam, he's not responsible. Mutarin, however, if I give him the money loose, then it's understood that he could use it in the meantime, because this is his stock and trade. Then, yishtamish b'hem, then he could use it. And since then he could use it, so now, once he could use it, he at least becomes a shomer sacher. He's getting benefit from it. He's at least a shomer sacher. We're going to see in one opinion in the Gemara that he's a shayel, that he's lending it. Then, lefikach im avdu, if it gets lost, chayav b'achri yusin. We'll see that one shot in the Gemara is not only if it gets lost, but even if there's an einus and the boat capsizes, it's an einus, he's still chayav. Why? Because he's a shayel, and a shayel is chayiv even an einzim. Now, but let's say eitzel baal bayis. Let's say I leave it by Mark, and Mark is just a homeowner. A homeowner, he doesn't need to use money. Eitzel baal bayis bein srurim bein mutarn, whether it was tied up, whether it was loose, lo yishtamish b'hem, he shouldn't use it, and therefore, since he can't use it, therefore he doesn't get any benefit. Lefikach im avdu, if it gets lost, ein chayav b'achriyusa. Now, what about if Shelley was a grocer? So, if Shelley was a grocer or a shopkeeper, does he have a din like a chenveni, like a shulchani, or does he have a din like a balabayas? So, chenveni kibalabayas, where he has no right to use it, even if it's loose, divrei meir. Rabbi Yehuda no chenveni kishulchani. A storekeeper is like a money changer, where if it was loose, he's allowed to use it. Now, says Gemara, if it was in a bag, tzrurin means it was bundled up in a bag. Mishum de tzrurin lo yishtamish bem. Well, how if I'm giving him money, what am I supposed to do? Carry it in my two hands, cupped together? I gave it to him in a bag. Why is that a sign that he shouldn't use it? Mishum de tzrurin lo yishtamish bem. As I told you, it was in a bag and it was sealed up. It had a seal on it, and that's a sign that he shouldn't use it. What about if it was in a bag and it had a unique knot on it? A fisherman's knot. I tied it in a unique way. Ikramre. So Ramari says, no, even if it's Bekesher Mishuna, even if it has an unusual knot, that's a sign that he shouldn't open it. Ikramre, boy Ramari Kesher Mishuna Mai. What we understand that if it's sealed that he can't use it. What if it has a unique knot? Not according to this version, Teiku Tishbi Yataritz Kushas Yibaris. Now, Mutarin Yishtamish Ben, if it's loose, then Marshall could use it, and since he uses it, he benefits from it, and therefore if it gets lost, he's kayev. Amar Rav Huna, then va'afilu nensu, even if an accident happens. Why? A Shem Yisachar is not chayev for einsim. No, but he's not a Shem Yisachar anymore. If he could use the money, so then he's a lender. Says Avdu Kitani, but the Mishnah says it was lost. It should have said if an einus happened. Says when it says lost over here, it means an einus. Kidarabba, Amar Rabba said elsewhere, where it says Gneva Vaved, and it's talking about einsim nignavu ballistim izuyin, armed robbers, which is an einus, and Avdu Shetavdu Srinta B'yam, that the boat capsized at sea, which is an einus. Rav Nachman disagrees. Now you have to understand that Rav Nachman only disagrees where Marshall didn't use it yet. If Marshall used it, then of course he's a shayil, and then of course he's chayiv and einz. But the machlokes is he considered a shayil because he can use it? So Rav Nachman says no. Until he uses it, he's not chayiv and einz. Rav Nachman amar nen suloi. If an einus happened before he actually used it, he's not chayiv. So the Gemara says, well, if you think that before he uses it, he's not a shayil, then before he uses it, he shouldn't be a shomer sacher either, because he didn't use it yet. So then why is he chayiv if it was regularly lost? Amalei Rav Nachman l'didachta amrit nen sulai. According to you, that says that if it's an einus, he's not chayiv. Almaloi havi shayil alayu. That means because until he uses it, he's not considered a borrower. Ishayil lo yavi. If he's not a borrower, then shemesacha nami lo yavi. He's not considered a hired watchman either. He didn't get any benefit until he used it. Says you want to know that he does have benefit. And let's see why, as we welcome in Sandy Grunfeld, who's joining us, and there comes Ben Cian Cohn joining us. We're missing Nachman. He must be traveling on the way. Yeshutman is here. Oh, Rabbi Kranz is with us. Oh, welcome, Rabbi Kranz. Oh, look at that. Rabbi Kranz is here. Rabbi Kranz, we're all really learning for you and rooting for you. Yaakov Avadia ben Freda Rivka should have a refuah shalema b'seich shayach Yisrael, and not just a refuah shalema, but also should have a refuas hanefesh. You shouldn't have to worry about anything. And you should put it all behind you. So the Gemara asks a very, very good kasha. According to you, Rav Nachman, that you say that until Marshall uses the money, he's not chayiv as a borrower, then until he uses the money, he shouldn't be a shomer sacher either. And that's what the Gemara asks. The doctor amrit nensulai that he's not chayiv in einzim. Until he uses the money, he's not considered a borrower. So if he's not a borrower, then shomer sacher nami lo yave. He didn't get any benefit either. Why is he chayiv even for gneva vaveda? So Rav Nachman says no. Benefit he gets. Because Marshall knows I got cash in my hand that if something comes up, if I see a baseball card that looks very, very good, he sees a Bauman 1950 Mickey Mantle that the guy is selling for $2. So he said, I got money in my hand that I could buy something. So, Amalei Bahamay Barchin is looking. Who's Mickey Mantle? Says the Gemara, Amalei Bahamay Dinalach, the Hayel Venene Mahana, Marshall does have benefit. Bahu ano the imay sramele zvina the islay rafka, that if he finds something, a purchase that he could profit on, zavin bahu, so because he has cash in hand ready available to make a purchase, even if he didn't use it, havi alayo shem esacher. For that benefit, he becomes a shem esacher. So Eisvei Rav Nachman Rav Huna, Rav Nachman asked Rav Huna, you say as a din of a shayel and he's chayiv in einzin. This is a very interesting question. Hamafkid mois eitzel shulchani. If I'm the temple treasurer and I give money to Mel as a deposit, now I forgot that it was hektish money. Im tzururin, if it was in a pouch and sealed, lo yishtamish ben, Mel can't use it. Lefikach im haitzi, therefore, if Mel spends it, loyma ala gizber, I don't commit mila, because Mel had no permission to use it. So therefore, he can't make me chayiv mila. Mel will be chayiv mila. However, the imutarin, but if they're loose, yishtamish behem, he could use it. And since he could use it, lefikach im haitzi, if he spends it, then mala gizber. If he spends it, since I gave it to him, and I had no right to give it to him, because it was money of Ekdish, and it was my mistake, and Mel didn't do anything wrong, because he was allowed to use it, so then I, the treasurer, am all. But wait a second. According to the opinion of Rav Huna, who holds that Mel is considered a lender even before he spends it, then I should be moyel as soon as I give it to him. Why does it say if he spends it? Vi amrid afilu nensu, if we say even before Mel spends it, he's considered a lender since he could use it. My area, Haitzi, why did Mel have to spend it? For me to be Mal Ba'ektish, afilu loy Haitzi nami, even if he didn't spend it, since he's a shayel, and he's a shayel on money of Hektish, so therefore, I should be Mal since I gave him to do that. It was my mistake. Says, well, you're right. Amalehu adin afagav the loy Haitzi. But va'aidi the tani reisha Haitzi, since the reisha says, a chiddush, that even if Mel spent it, I'm not moyel, because it was wrapped and sealed, and therefore you had no right to do it, so it had to say the chiddush of haitzi, so tana seifa nami haitzi, but einach nami in the seif, even if loy haitzi, I'm already moyel, since according to Rav Nachman, Mel is already a shayah. Now, we're getting back to infamous people, Of course, when we say infamous, in this share, infamous is another way of saying, a.k.a. the Bavus, the well-known Marshall Castle, who's holding a precious bottle of Pepsi in his hand. Now, he's trying to make me jealous. That's what he's doing. So, Hashileach Yod Bipikod. I gave Marshall I gave him a block of Swiss chocolate. Swiss chocolate. Really, really good stuff. You think I would give it to you if you're a milchik? So, Hashileach Yad B'Pikadon, if Marshall misappropriates, and then it gets ruined. So the shaila is, what happened if this Swiss chocolate went up in value? So Beis Shammai says, Yilka b'chaser v'yeser, which means that we throw the book at him, whether it went down in value, whether it went up in value. So that if when I gave it to him, the block of chocolate was worth $50, and it went down to 36, so he pays 50. And if when I gave it to him it was 36 and it went up to 50, he pays 50. So Beis Shammai says we throw the book at him, which makes sense. It's Marshall. Beis Hillel kishas hoitzah. Now the Gemara is going to debate. What does it mean kishas hoitzah? Does it mean hoitzah mean the time he removed it? In other words, he removed it from the world, it got destroyed? Does it mean it's when he misappropriated it? What does that mean? The Gemara will, and this is going to be important because we're going to see all the way at the end of the sugya that Rava, who's the Basra, paskins like the opinion of Beis Hillel. Rabbi Akiva im kishas atfiyah. It's we go according to when I make the claim in court. So now we're going to debate these opinions, which is very interesting. The most ambiguous opinion is the opinion of Beis Hillel, who says kishas hoitzah. So, but the Gemara is going to start with a case. The main player in the case is, of course, Marshall. Amarabba, Hayman de Gozel Chavita de Chamre Mechavre. Marshall stole a barrel of wine from Shelley. Meikoreshav Yezuza. Initially, it was worth a zuz, and Hash de Shav Yarba. When it got destroyed, when it got ruined, it's worth 4 zuz. So now, Rabbah says as follows: Tavra oishasya, if he destroyed it, if he broke the barrel, or he drank it, so Mishalim Arba, he pays the 4 zuz. Itbar memela, if it broke by itself, so then Mishalim Zuzah, he pays only a zuz. Now, why does it work that way? My timer. Because Kavan the Isa, when he stole it, if it would be around Hadra Lamara Be'ene, he would be able to return it to Shelley the way it was. Right? So if he drank it, so he's chayiv at the time that he drank it. Ha'ishata de kashasile, when he drank it, or the katavale, or when he broke it, that's when kagazamine. That's when he stole it from Shelley, and therefore kol hagazlana mishalman kashas agzela. Usnan kol hagazlana mishalman kashas agzela. So again, Marshall misappropriates it, and if he drinks it, if he breaks it, that's the time that he's really stealing it, and therefore he pays, since at that time it went up to 4 zuz, he has to pay 4 zuz. Itma memela, but if it breaks by itself, mishalim zuzah. He only has to pay a zuz. Why? My timer. When it broke by himself, he didn't do anything. So am I mechayev? Like, why are you being mechayev him? Because Aishata the Gazla, because he misappropriated it. Oh, when he misappropriated it, it was only worth the zuz. So Aishata zuzu deshavi. At that point, it was only worth the zuz. So now let's see how this works with Beis Hillel's opinion in the Mishnah. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Beis Hillel Aimrim, Beis Hillel says, Kishas hoitzah, that when Marshall steals it, right, he misappropriates the deposit, and then afterwards it gets ruined, so he pays the time that was taken out. What does that mean? My kishas hoitzah. What does it mean he pays the time it was taken out? Excuse me. If it was when it was removed from the world, as we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig, if it means when it was removed from the world, now, when do we say that he holds that you pay not from the time that it was stolen, but the time that it was removed from the world? If it means that if when it was destroyed it's worth less, so Marshall only has to pay the lesser price, that doesn't make sense. Is there a man that says that when he stole it was worth more and it was destroyed it's worth less, he pays less? All thieves pay like at the time of the theft. And if it means that if it becomes worth more, he pays the time of the removal when it's removed from the world, well, that's the opinion of Beis Shammai. And Beis Hillel is saying the same thing as Beis Shammai. Ela pshita kishas haitzah. What does Beis Hillel mean from the time it was taken out? It means mebeis balim, the time that Marshall misappropriated it. The Marshall took it away. I gave him a deposit and he misappropriated it. Says the Gemara, but Rabbah who says the halacha is. Rabbah says that the halacha is that when Marshall, what did Rabbah say? When Marshall stole the barrel of wine and it became worth more. So he said that he has to pay the 4 zuz if he breaks it, while Beis Hillel would say that he has to pay kishas gzeila. So are you going to say that Rabbah is holding like Beis Shammai? We never paskin like Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai b'makom Beis Hillel lesa. Lema Rabbah d'amar ke Beis Shammai. So Amalach Rabbah, so Rabbah says no. B'yeser kuli amalei pligi. Where it becomes worth more, nobody argues. Right? When it becomes worth more, that's not where the argument is. Ki pligi b'chaser. They argue where it becomes worth less. Beis Shammai savrei, Beis Shammai holds that shlichus yad eina tzricha chesaron. That misappropriation doesn't need that Marshall should have to take something from it. V'chi chaser, and therefore when it goes down in value, b'shusa didei chaser, it goes down in Marshall's possession. And therefore Marshall has to pay the original value that it was worth when he stole it, because since shlichus yad doesn't need for you to take anything from it, so as soon as Marshall misappropriated it, even if he didn't take anything from it, it's his. And therefore, when it went down in value, it went down in value in Marshall's property, and therefore he has to pay the original higher value. V'chi chaser b'reshus adidei chaser. Beis Hillel savrei, Beis Hillel holds shlichus yad tzricha chesaron. That shlichus yad, if he misappropriates it, if he didn't actually use it, so then he's not responsible yet. It's not his. And therefore, when it went down in value, it went down in value in Shelley's property. And therefore, he only has to pay the lesser amount. Says the Gemara, wait a second. Rava paskins that shlichus yad, misappropriation, is considered like stealing, even if the thief didn't use it yet. Are you going to say that Rava is saying like Beis Shammai? Lema Rava Damek Beis Shammai. And again, that can't be, because Beis Shammai b'makom Beis Hillel lesser. Elahacha b'mayaskin, and you know what Marshall did? Kigain shetiltala lahavi aleh gaizalas. He took the barrel to move it to stand on top of it as a step stool to get the pigeons from the dovecote. And the question is, if Marshall borrowed it without permission, is he considered a thief? Ubeshayil shaloi midas kamiflagi. Beis Shammai savrei shayil shaloi midas is a gazlan. So therefore, as soon as he appropriated it, it's his. V'chi chaser, and therefore when it went down in value, b'reshus adidei chaser, it went down in value in his possession, and therefore he's chayiv to pay the original amount, the bigger amount. Beis Hillel savrei shayil shaloi midas shayil avei. Shayil shaloi midas, even if he borrowed without permission, he's a borrower, and therefore it never went out of Shelley's possession. And therefore, v'chi chaser b'reshus adamara chaser, it went down in value in Shelley's possession, and therefore he only has to pay the lesser amount. This doesn't work either, because so that means that we're saying that by Shammai holds shayil shaloi midas is a gazlan, and that would be that's not the halacha. But el hadam Rav shayil shaloi midas l'rabbanan gazlan ave, that's no good. Is Rava saying like Beis Shammai? Lema Rava Damek Beis Shammai? That also doesn't work. Rather, as we welcome in Dr. Guy, Ella, Another attempt over here. Elahacha b'shvach shel gzeila kamiflagi. Here we're talking about what happens when Marshall steals it and it improved by Marshall. Let's say it's a cow and it gave birth by the thief. Or it's an animal and it grew extra wool by the thief. Right? Marshall, I told you, when I was in Chicago, I saw that Marshall has, a whole operation there. You should see what's going on. Elahacha. You're going to get me arrested. Elahacha. Well, Marshall, we passed the police station. I saw, all eyes were looking at you. Elahacha. Elahacha. Elahacha b'shvach shel gezela kamiflagi. Here we're talking about where that which he stole improved. Beis Shammai sav shvach gezela denigzal have. Beis Shammai says that Marshall acquires it b'shinui, and the improvement goes to Marshall. It's a very big chiddush. Of course. So if he steals from Shelley an animal that was pregnant, and then it gives birth by him, or he steals from Shelley a sheep that has a 1-inch thick growth, and by him it becomes a 3-inch thick growth, he only has to pay to Shelley the value of a pregnant animal. The difference between the value of a pregnant animal and the fetus, that Marshall keeps. The difference between a 1-inch growth and a 3-inch growth, Marshall keeps. Because Shvak Zela de Nigzolavi. Or Beisil Savi no, Shvak Zela de Gazlanavi. Or Beplukta Dani Tanai, and they're arguing the Machlokes of the following Tanai. The Tanya Geisel as a Rachel, if Marshall steals a sheep. Gazes of Yolda, if he shears it, it gives birth. Mishalem Oisav es Gizusev es Vlodoisev. Rameir holds he has to give back the whole kit and caboodle. He has to give back the fetus. He has to give back all the growth of the hair. Rabbi Yehuda Megzela Chayzeres Be'inei. Now, of course, he doesn't mean that he just returns back the sheep, because everybody agrees Kala Gezon and Mishalem Kishas Egzela. But what it means is he only has to pay back a sheep and 1 inch of growth. He only has to pay the value of a pregnant sheep. The difference between the pregnant sheep and the value of a fetus, that he keeps. The difference between a 1-inch growth and a 3-inch growth, that he keeps. It doesn't, it's interesting. And when you learn the Mishnah inside, you don't pick this up. It really is a fine point. It should have said whether it was Zol, whether it was cheap, or whether it was Yakar, whether it went down in price or whether it went up in price. It says instead it says Yilka b'chaser v'yezer, and therefore what it means is that if it went up in value, because Beisil says Kishas Eitzah is only chayv the time of the removal, means Kishas Agzela Shmamina. Rabbi Akiva Aimer Kishas Hatviyah, at the time of the claim in court. Am Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel, Halacha Rabbi Akiva. The law is like Rabbi Akiva. However, Umayda Rabbi Akiva b'makom sheyesh edim, Rabbi Akiva agrees, however, in a situation where there were witnesses that Marshall misappropriated it, so then he's chayiv to pay the value not for when they were in court, the value of the way it was in court, but the value at the time when the Edom witnessed it. Why? My time. To the one who it belongs to, that's Shelley, he has to pay, b'yoyim ashmosai, on the day of his guilt. And since there's witnesses, that's the day of his guilt. That's the day his guilt was established. However, Amalei Rabbi Shil Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Ata Omer came. Rabbi, do you say like this? Haki Amar Rabbi Asi Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Chalakal Ya Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva argued, Afilu b'makom sheyesh edim. Even in a time where there are witnesses, you don't go bust at the value of when the witnesses saw it. You go bust at the value of when the judgment was made in court. My time ad Amrakra. You give it back to the one that it belongs to, that's Shelley, on the day of his guilt, and the day of guilt is only established in court. It's only the time that it's established in court. Amalei Reb Zera Rababa bar Papa. Reb Zera said to Rababa bar Papa, Ki ozlis lahasam, when you go up to Eretz Yisrael, Akif, I would like for you to make a detour and go Asulma de Tzur, to the high ascent of Tzur, the early Gabei de Yaakov Baridi, and visit the great Rabbi Yaakov Baridi, Uboy Minei, and inquire of him, Ishmiel Leila Rabbi Yochanan, Halacha Rabbi Akiva, or ain't Halacha Rabbi Akiva. If you heard Rabbi Yochanan say Halacha is like Rabbi Akiva or not. So Amalei, he told him, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan, halacha k'Rabbi Kiva la'olam, always. Now, what does that mean? Always. My la'olam. So the Gemara is going to say two pshatim. Amar Rav Ashi shaloi toy mahanim yiliyechad oleka edim. That where does Rabbi Kiva say that we go according to the amount at the time of the court of the tefillah of the claim? That's only with the no witnesses. Avalechad ika edim we go most of the time of the edim loy because we say that's the time of the ashma. But no, we go according to Rabbi Kiva even if there were witnesses, still it goes according to the time of the claim. The inami, or else, the chiddush is that we go according to Rabbi Kiva even even if he returned it to its place. In other words, Marshall put it back in its place and then it broke. Marshall's still chayiv. And why? Because this is not like Rabbi Shmuel. Remember, Rabbi Shmuel said that you don't need das bailim, you could return it back to its place without informing the owner. But we don't hold like Rabbi Shmuel. He returned it back to its place and afterwards it broke. Lafukim and Rabbi Shmuel, excluding the pshat of Rabbi Shmuel, that you don't have to inform the owner. Kamash Malan, that you need to inform the owner, and since he didn't, so he's chayiv even if he put it back in its place. Rava, and now here Rava argues, and we're going to paskin like Rava because Rava is the basra. That's a rule in psak that we paskin like Rava because he's a basra. He's a later paisik. The Rava Amar halacha kebeis Hillel. The law is like Beis Hillel that. Unlike the opinion of Rabbi Akiva that we go b'shas atfiyah, we go k'shas hitzah, and if you remember, we said that when Rava says k'shas hitzah, it means that from the time of the removal from the owner, as we said, kol hagazlonim mishalmin k'shas hagzeila. Rabbi say we will reconvene in Yirtzeh Hashem, and by the way, as Irving is fond to tell people, when you reconvene, you're going to need volume 3. You're going to need volume 2, not volume 3. You're going to need volume 2, and we did the Mishnayos because right now, in honor of Mark, we have a special segment called For the Shabbos Table. So when the hordes in the world watch this shir, they should know it's in honor of Mark Frankel, who drove all the way from Baylor Kinwood. He says he drove there for food, but we really know that that's just what he told his family. He really came to hear the shir. I mean, now, Matzah Shabbos, thank you, Irving. Matzah Shabbos, 9:45. 9:45. I'm doing it deliberately because I want to give some time for people to do Mechiras Chametz. So that will be at 9:45. But right now, we have this special segment called For the Shabbos Table.
What did you say about the matzah shear?
What did I say about the Matzah Shir? I said it was a glorious shir.
Where is it being posted and when?
It's already posted on YouTube.
On YouTube?
What?
Is it going on Torah Anytime?
In 4 minutes, you could watch it live on Torah Anytime.
Okay.
In 4 minutes, at 9 o'clock, you could watch it live on Torah Anytime. Well, the way to watch a shir live is my Chumash shir goes live on Torah Anytime Thursday night at 9. You go to the home page, on the bar, on the top of the home page, all the way to the left is a box that says live. You press live, then you see a flyers in the middle. You scroll down to my flyer and you press it, and then you will see the live share. After it plays live on Thursday at 9, then it's archived generally in. Before then, it's available on YouTube, it's available on Kol HaLashon, it's available on Facebook, and for people like Marshall that's not enough, then go roast marshmallows. What could you do? There's one in every crowd. Okay, let's just get set up. Let's get set up over here.